Okay, so this is 2d6, right? On the team's assignment, I should probably bring that up so it's not confusing. Let's go to assignments. Let's go to 2d6, right? Let's go to student view. Let's go to the image. Okay, so I made a mistake on this. I put scale 1 inch equals 2 inches. I actually scaled my title block up by 2.5. So remember that whenever you guys start. It's not scaled up by 2. It'll be too tight and kind of cluttered if you only scale it up by 2. So let's scale it up by 2.5. So I got a standard size title block right here. I'm going to select it all, click on the scale button, which is here, and I'm going to scale it up by a factor of 2.5. That'll make it nice and large like that. Let's get rid of that window. Okay, so starting off here, and here's just a little side note. On the Pac-Man drawing, there was a time where he made things like thicker. So I'm going to make, and how you do that is, this is the color under properties. The second drop down is the thickness. And I usually use 0.3 if I want a line to be thicker. But the problem is, let me expand this real quick. By default, your line weight, like button down here, is not turned on. So in order to make sure that you can visibly see that your lines are thicker, you need to go to customization and line weight. What all that does is it adds a little button down here. Just because it's checked on this menu doesn't mean it's actually turned on. So then you have to click right there on that little line weight button, and then your line weights will show up properly. For example, if that's turned off, all your line weights are the same. It doesn't actually, like, visibly show up. But anyway, all right, that was just a side note. So, I like to draw things thicker just so you can see them a little better. You don't have to use the thicknesses or anything that I use, but anyway. Okay, so starting off with this, okay, I always like to draw the center lines, if at all possible, first. So I'm going to go ahead and load up a center line by going to load here and going to center. So now in my properties under, okay, color, line thickness, third one is line type. I've got one that's called center. I'll go ahead and make that my current layer, or my current properties, I guess you'd call it. And how I usually lay this out is, all right, I'll start from the midpoint and go up, and I'm just looking at that number, and I'm going to type in like 9. And then I'm going to come down, 9. I like it to be even. I'm going to go this way, 9. And then this way, 9. Okay, those are my center lines. And that was a little crazy, but I don't like those to be bold. So I'm starting off with 9, 9, 9, 9, and I just randomly made that number up. It doesn't matter how long you make yours, technically. Then I take these two, and I type in the word join to join them together. That makes them just one unit. Grab these two, type join, and now I have two lines that create my little center lines here. Okay, simple. Now I'm going to change my current drawing stuff to white and by layer or continuous, either one works. And I'm going to start with some circles. Okay, the inner circle is how big? 10 what? Diameter. Easy, right? Center diameter, click right there, type 10.
Oh my gosh.
Easy peasy, 10 diameter. How big is this circle? I want to create this circle next. 14. So sometimes I will not just point to a circle and tell you how long it is. I'll just give you like a dimension like this. You have to know that that's the diameter of the circle. It's measuring from the top to the very bottom. So circle, click there, 14. Now, basically, I think about this drawing like there's two circles and then there's a square that kind of resides within that outer circle. So what I want to do is actually draw a square. I need to know the size of that square. So what dimensions do I have left? This 7 has to do with the circle. So that's not relevant. I've already used the 10. These have to do with the curves. Really the only two other dimensions that are left that I haven't used are this 6 and this 6. That means from the center here, if I were to go over 6, it would be where this edge is. So in other words, what I do is I come out from the center 6, and then I go, actually that wasn't straight. Let me try that again. I come out 6, then I come up 6, over 6, and then there 6. There's a little box. That's creating that little shape right there. You could do that everywhere. So 6, 6, 6. Come here, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6. Okay? Don't need these red lines, so I'm going to erase them. But what that gives me is this box that kind of, like I said, resides within this circle here. All right? And then I can use the fillet tool to create this little fillet radius of 1. So use the fillet tool right here. Down at the bottom, you have to click on radius and then type the radius in, which in this case is 1. Click on the 2 red corners, and it will create the fillet for you. Okay? 4x means it happens 4 times. So this says like 4x radius 1. That means it happens 1, 2, 3, 4 times. Okay? And then from here, I would probably just trim. Looking at that, I see that these lines need to go away, the straight edges that go within the circles. And then also this little part of the circle that happens here also needs to go away. And from there, all I have left is creating these inner circles that have a diameter of 1.2. Hover your mouse over let me make this big for a second. When you're making your circle, okay, if the thing doesn't just show up right there, you hover your mouse over this arc, and then that little plus sign will show up, and then you can make your circle there. What was the radius or diameter? 1.2. And then if you want, you can just copy it around to those locations there. Let's make this by layer. That looks good. Go back to this. And I do want to go over dimensions on this one real quick because some people have been turning things in without dimensions, so maybe there's some confusion there. I'm going to go to properties. Go ahead and change my color to cyan, thickness to regular. So for these dimensions, I've got linear for this 14, just starts at the top, goes to the bottom. All right, how do I change what this looks like? Dim style. Ooh, I can spell style. I would go to modify, and typically I go to fit whatever I scaled the title block up by. So I scaled the title block up by 2.5. I'm just going to do 2 because I think 2.5 was a little large when I did it last class. Then I'm going to go to primary units, and if there's no decimal places on the example drawing, then I need to just choose that for my precision here. I'll change that to 0, so it's not going to show me any decimal places, and it should look something like that. I guess you could use 2.5 for your scale if you feel like that's too small, but I guess that's kind of up to you. Another linear dimension comes from here to here. Those are a little too cramped. I do want you paying attention to that. Don't cramp up your dimensions. We're trying to make it look nice and neat. I've got another one that's 7 from here to the edge. Move my mouse up, click that one. And another one down here at the bottom, that's from here to here. That gives me 6. And I've got 2 more that are diameter. So I click on this circle, bring it out. This one, bring it this way. You don't have to put the 4x if you don't want to. And radius goes there. But if you did want to put the 4x, you could just double click on the value and type 4x space if you're trying to get an A. And then it looks something like that. That would be your final product, I believe. Change your title, just so we're clear. What is this? 2D6, 2D-6. Slide this up so it's more in the center. Or you can use control arrow keys to nudge it like that. Change name, date, and period. And turn that one in.